Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a 6-4 loss to the Astros. I was trying to think of an adjective there on the fly to describe the game earlier today. Had to digest that one a little bit, not gonna lie. Know we're coming at you guys a little bit late night. Busy day today for me, but we're gonna get this done. We're gonna go through the matchup, talk about it, talk about the prospects for the Rangers moving forward here. Big East Coast road trip coming up. You got New York starting on Friday. You got Boston after that. Not super ideal. Not ideal to be going to the East Coast to play two really good teams on the heels of a very poor homestand. We got to call it like it is. We're going to get into everything from today, all the highlights, the key moments, the scoring, go through the box score review, kind of translate some things for you. There was actually some Rangers with some decent days today, but doesn't always show up in the box score, and the other way around too. Some guys that maybe look like it was an all right night in the box score didn't come through when the Rangers really needed it most. We're going to go through all that in a little bit here. Of course, at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during baseball season. A lot of Rangers content out there. Thank you for choosing Right on Rangers. If you're not following the account yet, you're not subscribed to the channel, please hit that follow or subscribe button. Stay up to date with every time we go live. Get notified whenever we do so as well. Keep up with all our latest and greatest content. Thank you so much for supporting Right on Rangers. We truly do appreciate it. Well, let's talk about it. So, the Rangers today, another very, very slow start. And I think it does need to be said every game this series, regardless of the epic Josh Smith walk-off home run on Monday night. Every game this series, the offense was sluggish starting out the gate. It was not a pretty offensive series for the Rangers. It had some big moments. Corey Seager, Josh Smith, each of those guys seemed to have some big moments in this series. But that was really it. Collectively, there was no, I would say, complete offensive effort. You had some nice innings here and there. Even today, that was kind of the case. But I felt like even in the innings, maybe beyond the sixth inning, the Rangers wasted a ton of opportunities today. 9 runners left on base. 9 runners. And you went 3 for 12 with runners in scoring position. There was a situation, I believe, Rangers had a runner on third with nobody out, weren't able to score. The offense, regardless of what the box score says, was not clutch when they needed to be. And there were a number of guys that did not come through when the game really was on the line and maybe still had a nice day in the box score, but did not come through with 2 outs, runners in scoring position when the Rangers needed it. Today, you had 4 different guys with 2 outs and runners in scoring position that did not come through. Robbie Grossman was one of them. Adolis Garcia was another one. Again, runner in scoring position, 2 outs, not coming through. Marcus Semien was another one. Josh Smith. So you had 4 Rangers players that had opportunities with runners in scoring position with 2 outs, weren't able to come through today. And you look, Marcus Semien had a great line in the box score. Josh Smith did not. He was 0 for 5. You also had Adolis Garcia 1 for 3 with a walk. That's a pretty decent stat line for a game. But when you're not coming through when it matters the most, it's definitely deceiving just looking at the box score. Some of these guys were just not clutch when the Rangers most needed it. And that was kind of the story of this entire series. Before we get into too much more, I'm going to check comments. We'll read as much as we can as we're going through the show. I appreciate all y'all's comments. Helps make the show fresh. So if you got anything to get off your chest, you got any questions you want to throw my way heading into the off day tomorrow, hopefully this off day is just what this Rangers team needs. I'm not giving up yet, for the record. Not giving up yet. I know there's a lot of negativity out there after getting beat 2 out of 3 by the Astros. And today was an especially pivotal day. This was for the Silver Boot. So the reason why the Astros won the division last year, when the Rangers and Stros were tied at 90 wins apiece, you go back to games like this. I mean, the Rangers did not come through against the Astros last year when they needed to. And this year, same thing, same story. Now, we've got a few different comments here. Game Time, what's up? Thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate you. We got people watching on YouTube, on TikTok. We've got people watching on X, Facebook. Thank you so much. Cade, what's up, my guy? Thanks for tuning in. Definitely don't feel obligated, but I do think I have a link in the description for a donate spot if you feel so inclined. Definitely not necessary, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. Check out the description of the video. There should be a link to my PayPal if you ever want to donate, and know that I'm very, very grateful for that. Let me go ahead and keep things rolling here with box score. I'm going to check TikTok, make sure I did not forget anything, but what's up to all of y'all watching on TikTok? Thank you so much. Let me keep rolling with the box score here. So a few different things. First of all, as we go through this game, Astros are able to draw first blood in the top of the first inning. You had Ureña, I think, with kind of a little bit of a sloppy performance. There were 4 innings pitched today by Ureña, 9 base runners. Jose Ureña, back-to-back starts, not the sharpest. And last night on the show, I talked about Jose Ureña in his last start. Carson Kelly, the Rangers' newly acquired catcher from the Detroit Tigers, he started at catcher for Jose Ureña's last time out. And I thought maybe that had something to do with Ureña being a little bit off in his start last time. New catcher, new guy calling it, maybe not completely a whole level, a great level of trust. I know catchers obviously do a lot of close work with their pitchers, managing the staff rotation. I thought maybe Carson Kelly catching Ureña for the first time last time was the reason why Ureña struggled a bit. Jonah Heim back out there to catch Ureña today, and I wouldn't say that it went great. 4 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, but 9 base runners in 4 innings. Just not ideal. Not going to win you a lot of ball games. So it starts with Ureña not being sharp. At the end of the day, Ureña leaves the game down 2-0. That's not insurmountable. And when nobody's scoring, it's hard to blame Ureña for the loss today. I think we can all sit back and objectively say he wasn't sharp today. He just wasn't. And neither was Jose Leclerc. And I can't defend Leclerc today. Y'all know that I will defend Leclerc to the death when he deserves it. Today, he did not. I think every single baseball, it felt like every single batter squared up Jose Leclerc today. Not sure what was going on with him, but Leclerc's stat line, an inning and 2/3, 4 hits, no walks today. And I guess that's the bright spot for Leclerc. No walks today, 3 earned runs, 2 Ks. Of course, he gives up the home run. I mean, Leclerc was just off today. I do think he was the natural progression. I don't think there were a whole lot of other guys that you really wanted to have the ball after Leclerc at that point. In hindsight, of course, you can always go back and think maybe this guy would have been better. Maybe that guy would have been better. In the context of the game, the 5th inning, Ureña, by the way, pitches thrown by him in this one, only 65. I was a little surprised that they decided to pull him after 4. I mean, again, he wasn't the sharpest, but I kind of thought to myself, they're probably going to try and get some length out of him. I was a little surprised seeing him come out in the 5th inning. I know, again, he had not been pitching very, very well, but I would have thought at 65 pitches, they might have tried to squeeze one more inning out of him, especially with it only being a 2-run game at that point. So if you do pull Ureña in that situation, I think Leclerc is probably the next best option. You're hoping you can get 2 innings out of him. They tried, only got an inning and 2/3, and Leclerc was getting hit around left and right. A lot of hard contact against Leclerc when he came in the 5th inning. If you go to that inning, the 6th inning was the inning he got hit hard in. 5th inning was actually 1, 2, 3, and this kind of goes to what I've talked about with Leclerc in the past. You lengthen him out. He might give you 1 inning, 1, 2, 3, but anytime you get greedy with Leclerc, you're kind of asking for it. It's not to say that he's not going to go too scoreless, but in my opinion, anytime you want Leclerc going multiple innings, you're kind of asking for it. And that's what happened today. Leclerc sat Bregman, Alvarez, Diaz down 1-2-3, which if you just would have cut off his appearance right then and there, that's an outstanding appearance by Jose Leclerc. You go Bregman, Alvarez, Diaz, 1-2-3. I mean, no strikeouts, but you got flyouts from Bregman and Alvarez. Diaz grounds out softly to the catcher. I mean, it was a great fifth inning. It's the sixth inning where things started falling off. Caratini hits the home run after Pena struck out. Myers strikes out. And then it's just from there a lot with two outs. You had DiCenzo, I think is how you say his name, singling. Dubon doubling. I mean, and then Altuve singles. The wheels just kind of fell off for Leclerc there. Chafin came in, struck out Bregman to end the inning, but Leclerc, Ureña just not sharp today. And that's another story. The offense, I think we need to rail on them the most in this one. It was a lifeless performance, lacking urgency. I think there are a few at-bats I'm going to really laser focus in on here in a little bit. Let me stop and check some more comments, though, at this point. Natalie, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. Will any players on both sides of the ball come internally, or do you think the Rangers will go after some free agents when they want to add players? So I would say this. I really feel like the Rangers probably at a spot where they're not trying to spend a lot of money in the offseason. It really does not seem like they're willing to open up the purse strings. I mean, I just would look to this last offseason, right? There was not a ton of big free agent signing. There were a couple nice acquisitions here and there. And as we look back, a couple of really nice acquisitions, honestly. Look at Robertson, look at Yates. The Rangers got quite a bit of value out of their free agent signings, but there was nobody that they went out and got that ended up spending big money on. Of course, we all thought they were going to be in it for the Montgomery sweepstakes, whatever you want to call it. And they end up letting him go to Arizona, and Monty did get paid. He did. I don't think the Rangers are going to be going after a lot of big-name free agents this offseason, which I know is probably not what the fan base wants to hear, but I just can't see it happening. I can't see the Rangers going to sign another guy 4 or 5 years, $100 million. You know, I don't think any kind of deal like that's going to be going down. I'd love to be wrong. I mean, I would love for the Rangers to go out and get somebody, but I really think they're counting on a lot of guys within the organization, which I know is going to be scary to some Rangers fans. I have my own trepidations about it, but I think they're counting on a healthy Evan Carter making a difference, a full season of Josh Young making a difference, having some guys that have had down seasons this year rebound. I know it's not the answer that a lot of Rangers fans probably want to hear, and I don't think it's the answer even that I want to hear. But I do think that is what's going to be happening. It would really surprise me if the Rangers went out and signed a really big name bat to a really big deal. BHO, what's up? Yeah, Kikuchi for the second time in like 2 or 3 weeks, honestly. Although the Rangers did hit him pretty well in Toronto. Today, he was on 5 1/3, 1 earned run. Kikuchi definitely has been very solid in an Astros uni. No denying it. The strikeout pitch has been there for him. Good acquisition for the Astros so far. Still would probably say they overpaid a little bit. But look, you got quality innings out of him so far. Let's see if he can do it down the stretch and into October. But so far, so good for the Kikuchi trade, I would say. Yeah, we talk a little baseball around the league at the very end, but got to do stuff that I'm actually interested in doing. I'm not interested in talking about every baseball team out there, although we will go through the headlines at the end of the day. So Rangers it is for now. My favorite team, always will be. We'll talk MLB headlines at the end of the show. Always a part for that, but trust me, getting on here, you got to be into it. I'm just not going to be into talking Detroit Tigers baseball, Kansas City Royals baseball. It's just not for me. So we'll keep it Rangers. with a little bit of headlines at the end, going through all the big stories and stuff going on around the league at the end of the show. Andrew, what's up, my guy? Thanks for tuning in. Biggest Rangers fan right here as well. So, hey, man, same boat. Appreciate the support. Thanks for watching tonight. And I'll check TikTok here. I know I got a lot of people joining in and out. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. Appreciate the support. Oh, yeah, totally. Open for suggestions all the time. Look, I know bigger reach when you talk all teams or when you open it up for all teams. But again, got to do what I'm passionate about. We put in some good time here at Right On Rangers into the show, into the shorts and reels we put out each day. Got to do something we're passionate about, and that's Rangers baseball. But I'll always save some time to talk about the big stories around the league. But I appreciate you watching. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all the comments, bro. Thank you. Natalie, what's up? Says Rangers do have some decent prospects left. Langford and Carter. I think that maybe technically they're still considered prospects. I don't quite know when they stop labeling guys that have been called up prospects. I'm not really sure about that. Carter definitely and Langford are not going to retain rookie status or anything. So I do think they probably will be moved off the prospect list. I think you're hoping Wyatt Langford, Evan Carter, just another year of experience under their belts. Josh Young, full season, all that. I think you're counting on a couple of guys bouncing back with better years too. We'll see. Maybe the Rangers have different plans. Maybe the TV deal, I know they're not going to be back with Bally next year, but maybe a TV deal falls into place and the Rangers front office and brass feels a little bit more comfortable spending money. And the Rangers do go out and get some free agents. That is what I think needs to happen. I mean, I can sit here and say that all day long. It doesn't mean it's going to. And you guys know I like to try and tell you what I think is going to happen, not always just what I want to happen. I'd love for the Rangers to go out, get a bunch of big bats, get a couple of ace starting pitchers, and spend. Unfortunately, it's not my money, though. I just can't see the Rangers spending a lot. I think they are going to maybe try and get a couple of value buys in the offseason, just like they did this last year. You went out and got a Mike Lorenzen. You got David Robertson. You got Kirby Yates. You got Malley, right? And they paid some money for Malley. Malley's not making league minimum, right? And they got Malley next year too. But they just went out and made some solid ads. And I think CY is probably going to do that again. I would not get your hopes up for one of the big names like Alonso, for example. I don't think the Rangers are going to be signing Pete Alonso, who is a free agent at the end of this year. I don't think they're going to be going out and signing some of these guys that were big names at the trade deadline on expiring contracts. I really wish that I was wrong, but I just have a bad feeling that that is what they are going to do. I don't think they're going to be going out and buying a bunch of big names, unfortunately. Tristan agreed. Those are all my teams right there. Rangers, Cowboys, Mavericks, Longhorns. And you know what? Once football season starts up, you may see some football content start sliding across your page. We will definitely always be Rangers as long as baseball season's going on. If you're not into football, basketball, that kind of thing, you may have to hold off until baseball season starts again. You know, as much as we would love to just do a full off season of Rangers and nothing else, it gets a little dry and slow during the off season. You guys know how it goes. So we do love pretty much all the DFW teams. So you'll see us cover some of those. I have been thinking about, and I'm going to try and wait till maybe a live where I've got a few more people on. I know it's late right now for all the people that follow back in Texas. It's 11:18 right now on a weeknight. We're just trying to get our show in for the day. We definitely would prefer to go a little bit earlier, but busy day, got to get it done. But I'm thinking about starting a separate channel for some of the other sports, keeping this one strictly baseball, starting a new channel for some of the other sports out there like the Cowboys, Longhorns, maybe, just mixing it up. Sometimes when we cover too much at one time, this kind of goes to your point, BHO, but when we cover all these different teams and sports at one time. I feel like people follow based on one video and then get kind of confused. Like, dude was just talking about the Rangers. Why is he talking about Luka and the Mavericks now? So I was thinking maybe I'll create a couple of different channels for some of the other sports. So people that follow based on one video or one live or whatever the case may be aren't confused when I suddenly start covering a completely different team in another sport. But we'll see. I'm going to get some feedback on that one, but I'm kind of leaning that direction right now. I am ready for football season too. I'm definitely ready. I've got NCAA Madden on the Xbox loaded up, been getting hyped for the football season. I'm a big football guy. Baseball is my first love. Love baseball, always have, but football, very, very close second for me. Played both sports growing up, loved them, and have coached both sports as well. That's something that I do in my spare time, and I definitely am ready for those football Saturdays to start up. It's going to be great. We hopefully will be able to have some competitive baseball alongside of that. That was beautiful last year. You had Rangers baseball playoffs, you had Longhorns football, Cowboys football, just football season in general, right alongside October baseball. I loved it. It's October has got to be one of my favorite times of the year, especially when the Rangers are in it, because it's the start of the playoffs. It's the start of basketball. Football is in full swing. It's awesome. So I'm hopeful that the Rangers can hang in there and make October an even better sports month than it already is. It's looking a little bleak though, y'all. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not proclaiming the season dead. I don't think that this Astros series was the nail in the coffin. I know it feels like that when you're coming off a series loss like this, and a disappointing series loss at that, especially when you won the first game in such epic proportions. The Josh Smith walk-off homer. I think it just felt like, and I told y'all on the live, we watched that live together for those that were with me on that Monday night game when Josh Smith hits that 2-run bomb in the 10th to walk it off. A lot of y'all were with me on there, and I said, I really hope this is a turning point in the season. I think I did give a little disclaimer. It's just not going to shock me either way. It's not going to shock me if that Josh Smith walk-off home run meant nothing. And it wouldn't shock me if it catapulted the Rangers into a streak of success. And right now it feels like that Josh Smith home run meant absolutely nothing to this team. And I know baseball is a tough game. It's a challenging game. It's not as easy as just, hey, we won on a huge home run shot the night before. We can come out and just ride that wave and we're going to win a baseball game. It's a lot more complicated than that. And that is what can be frustrating about the game, what makes it difficult. But the Rangers really, it appears that walk-off home run on Monday night meant nothing. He came out Tuesday pretty lifeless offensively. Today, the Rangers came out pretty lifeless offensively. And we're going to talk about some of the key moments I'm going to go through right now. I already went through, I think, probably 3 or 4 different ones. Rangers had 4 opportunities with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Did not come through. We're 3 for 12 with runners in scoring position in general today. Left 9 runners on base. Too much. Too much wasted opportunities. Rangers are washed, huh? Man, a lot of people said that last year in August when the Rangers were on a losing streak, had just gotten pummeled by the Astros. And then they got into the playoffs, went on an epic run. For me, I just can't count this team out. With what they did last year, I just can't count them out. I'm probably not going to be giving up, y'all, until it's mathematically just not feasible anymore for them. It gets harder and harder to defend this team with some of the performances that they put out, but I am sticking by them. I do believe they have the talent to make a run. It doesn't appear like it is their year this year, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's impossible for them to turn it around. They've got, 47 games left, 5.5 games out. I think the Mariners were losing in the top of the 9th inning. I don't know if that game went final or not. Let me check it out here. Yep, Mariners lost 6-2 tonight. That game just went final. So the Mariners, they just lost a few games against Detroit. This would have been an outstanding moment to pull within 2-3 games of the Mariners in the AL West. Really unfortunate the Rangers weren't able to take advantage of it. Another comment here for anybody listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Rangers need to figure out who will play the third outfield position along with Carter. So, I mean, Josh Smith in left field, by the way, let's talk a little bit about that. That's a good segue. This comment is a good segue. I think you kind of see today, I don't know how many of us watched, play by play, at bat by at bat today, but Josh Smith, you kind of saw his inexperience out there today. There was a ball. It was a tough play. I think it ultimately did get ruled a hit, but Josh Smith had to go back on a baseball, bounced off his glove, running full speed backwards. It's a play I think that a lot of outfielders probably make, but Josh Smith, not an experienced outfielder, ball goes off his glove, and that did make a difference in the game. I think in that moment, Bregman actually grounded into a double play pretty quickly after that. But you're seeing some of the inexperience, Josh Smith out in the outfield coming into play there. And I don't think Josh Smith is a long-term answer in the outfield. Really don't think that they're going to continue to try and play him there into the 2025 season. I think the ideal is you have Wyatt Langford in left, you have Evan Carter in center. And as much as some Rangers fans aren't going to like to hear it, I think Dolly is under contract another year. I think you are going to see them trot Dolly out there next year. I really can't see them just eating that Adolis Garcia contract. I think the Rangers are going to try and retool him in the offseason. They're continuing to work on him right now, just hoping that he can catch fire. And today wasn't a terrible game for him. Again, 1 for 3 with the walk for Adolis Garcia. Didn't come through in clutch moments when we really needed him to today. But I think they are going to put Dolly back out there next year, and that is going to be the outfield. Now, who's going to be the fourth outfielder? Is Leote still going to be that guy? I don't know. Are they going to be platooning some guys? Again, not sure. But I really do think that they're going to have Adolis Garcia be their starting right fielder in 2025. I know some Rangers fans don't want to hear that, and Dolly has not played well this year, but they signed a 2-year contract with him in the offseason. 2 years, $6 million, right? So you're not paying Adolis Garcia a lot of money. And some people use that as an argument to just DFA him. But I really do think that they're going to try and trot him out next year in right field. Will they have some kind of insurance policy? I think that would be wise. Go out and get some kind of outfielder that can contribute or platoon. I don't think it's going to be a big name, but I would think that the Rangers would be interested in looking at the market and seeing if they could at least go out and find an affordable, an inexpensive option that could potentially push Adolis Garcia. So Dolly, I think, does hit lefties pretty well. Maybe you get a guy, a left-handed bat, that can be the platoon with Adolis. At least as an insurance policy, maybe you start Dolly every day to begin with. But if Dolly struggles again next year, you've got an insurance policy where you can at least start platooning him. I don't think that would be a terrible idea right now, to be completely honest. I don't think it would be a terrible idea to start platooning Adolis Garcia. I think playing him against lefties would be wise. And let me do this right now, because I don't want to just talk without knowing the stats. Let's see what Adolis splits are lefty-righty. Earlier in the year, it was very positive towards lefties. It might have evened out at this point. I have not looked at these splits in a while. So Adolis Garcia this year. The numbers are better against lefties. So Adolis Garcia against lefties is hitting 245 this year. 245. Against righties, Adolis Garcia is hitting 195. I think there is a pretty solid argument at this point that you could start platooning Adolis Garcia. I think you could easily platoon him with Leote, and you would have to move Wyatt Langford and have him play a little center a little bit more frequently, I think, in that scenario. Maybe you could still have Leote play center, and then you'd have to figure out right field. But at the same time, I do think there's an argument to be made that Adolis could easily be a platoon guy, sit against righties. He's hitting under 200 against righties this year, 195. He's hitting 245 against lefties. That's still not great, but it's better than what we're getting with the righties. And what you're seeing with Adolis right now is the off-speed pitch curving away out of the zone, right? Dropping out and him chasing. Adolis versus that slider dipping low and away out of the zone has been horrible when facing a right-handed pitcher this year. So that is the move that I would like to see them start doing. I don't think they're going to do it. I think dropping him down to seventh, I'm probably going to need to be content with that. Something I said needed to happen. I'm glad they finally did it, moving Adolis down to seventh. I really think a great argument could be made that he needs to be platooned at this point and needs to be sitting against righties. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I think next year they need to come up with some kind of insurance plan if it doesn't go well. If it doesn't go well next year with Adolis starting every day, have somebody that can either take at bats from him on a platoon basis or somebody that can straight up replace him. I just don't think you can do this again with Dolly in 2025. You've given him the long runway. You've given him an opportunity to work through. This is more than just a slump. This is a season-long suck for Adolis Garcia. I mean, he's hit some home runs. He's driven in some RBI. He's had some nice games, but they were counting on Adolis to be a 100-plus RBI cleanup hitter, and I don't think he's going to get close to that this year. Let me keep going. We have Wyatt Langford on base 3 different times today. I think he was a bright spot. He stole a base, his 10th of the season. Nice to see him drawing a couple of walks. So his batting eye seemingly improving up there. Josh Young was 1 for 5, struck out 3 times. Not his best day up there at the plate. Marcus Semien, 2 for 5, did have an opportunity with 2 outs and runners in scoring position early in the game. Did not come through there. And we did see the home run from Marcus that at least got the Rangers on the board. But by then it's kind of too little too late. It was 5-0. Simi hits the solo shot, and it makes it 5-1. Again, at the end of this game, there were some Rangers that started to come through with hits, but when that happened, it was already too little too late. I want to go to an at-bat, by the way. Nate Lowe, 2 for 4 with a walk, but I want to take you back to a really disappointing at-bat from Nate Lowe that I thought was a big moment, a huge moment in the game. So we had bottom of the second inning. Josh Young singled to left field. It got past, that was another one. I think that was on the Nate Lowe hit where it got past Alvarez. Josh Young singles. There was a wild pitch by Kikuchi. There was a throwing error by Caratini. And Josh Young ends up on third base in the bottom of the second inning with nobody out. Wyatt Langford grounded out. I believe it was like a ground out to the shortstop. Nate Lowe comes up. And this was where I started feeling just really negative. And it's a roller coaster ride as I watch some of these games, y'all. Sometimes I can stay pretty even keel, but just with what happened last night with the almost no-no, and then seeing this at bat, it just frustrated me and just made me really sour on the Rangers' chances today. So Nate Lowe comes up, 1 out, runner on third, and takes 3 straight called fastballs for strike 3. All of them were on the outer half. Number 2 was middle out, I would say. But Nate Lowe taking 3 straight called strike fastballs in the bottom of the second inning with 1 out and a runner on third kind of epitomizes, in my opinion, just how bad some of the Rangers' bats are going right now. And Nate Lowe is really not one of those bats. Nate Lowe has some good stats over his last 15, over his last 30 games. But Nate Lowe taking 3 fastballs in the bottom of the second inning. It's 1-0 Astros at that time. Nate Lowe has an opportunity to tie the game with a productive out. And you're taking 3 straight fastballs. Now, look, I know that it's lefty-lefty, but Nate Lowe actually had hit Kikuchi quite well in his career. Very positive numbers. So it's not like Nate Lowe struggles against Kikuchi. But Nate Lowe taking 3 straight called fastballs in the bottom of the second inning. The Astros had just scored in the top of the first. An opportunity to make the game level, bring it back to a 0-0 ball game, so to speak. And Nate Lowe takes 3 straight pitches for strikes, fastballs. 95 right there. and all you need is a productive out. I thought that kind of epitomized where this Rangers offense is at right now. There were some moments like that throughout the game where you just needed productive outs, moving base runners, and it just didn't happen. And I think I mentioned on the live on Friday night on Monday night and on Tuesday night. So after the Josh Smith walk-off and after the loss last night, the almost no-hitter by Valdez, the Rangers offense is too reliant on the big swing. The Rangers offense is predicated on guys hitting the big home run, hitting the big ball in the gap with 2 outs that scores a guy from first. This Rangers offense is not built to string together and go station to station. Not in my opinion. This Rangers offense needs the big hit to be successful. It is a downfall this year. It's a downfall. The Rangers have trouble going station to station. And I wish that they were better at doing that. I wish this team could play small ball a little bit more. I'm not talking about just bunting. I'm talking about just moving guys over and advancing runners, scoring runs and making outs at the same time, which I know sounds weird to say out loud and juxtapose. It's like a juxtaposition, but you've got to be able to manufacture runs in this league to be successful, to be a good team. And this Rangers team is too predicated on getting that big home run. Again, the big 2-out hit. It's just not a team that I feel is built to go station to station. Single, 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 score a run. This team is single, strikeout, strikeout, get a big home run with 2 outs. That's what this team is. And last year, the Rangers were getting that. They were. And I think that they were a little bit better last year at manufacturing runs as well. But this year, if they don't get the big hit, the big swing, they're not going station to station. So if they don't get the big homer, the big extra base hit, they're probably not winning ball games. Let me keep going. Young and Langford have a terrible zone called against them. I know that there are some bad calls throughout the game. Langford especially, it's been well chronicled with him. And look, last night I thought was an interesting zone for sure. Today had its moments. You guys don't hear me rail on the umpiring, the balls and strikes a lot because I think it's a losing battle. You're just going to get bad calls. You're going to get big calls that go your way in the moment. You're going to get really terrible calls that go against you in big moments. I'm not a big guy or a big guy that says, hey, like, this is going to even out over time. I'm not a big fan of saying that. It all evens out. Bad calls, they even out. I'm not a fan of that expression because sometimes you have bad calls happen in huge moments where it really doesn't get a chance to even out. It makes the difference in what would have been a win or a loss. So not a fan of that expression. It all evens out. But you don't hear me rag on it a lot because you can't control it. And most of the time, the Rangers have wasted other opportunities beyond just getting hosed on a few bad strike calls. But I do agree. Young, Langford, over the past several games, they've had some tough calls against them. No doubt. Let me keep rolling. So as we go through the box score, Doley, we talked about 1 for 3 with the walk. Nate Lowe, he had the bad at bat to start off his game. 3 straight fastballs taken with 1 out and a runner on third base. Then he went on to go 2 for 4 on the night with an RBI. So I feel like Nate Lowe definitely attempted to redeem himself. But when you are at the spot that the Rangers are at in the season, you have to take advantage of those moments. And sometimes it's not enough. Hey, you got 2 hits later on. You had a terrible first at bat and a huge opportunity to drive in a run. But hey, it all evened out at the end. Again, it doesn't always even out. And when you have such a thin margin for error like the Rangers do right now, you're 5.5 games out with 47 games left. You really can't afford to play that game. You've got to take advantage of the moments that you have to score runs, especially when you're able to score runs without even producing a hit. You've got a runner on third with 1 out. There's so many ways that you can score that run from third base. You've just got to put the ball in play. You can't be watching 3 straight fastballs. So Nate Lowe, a decent day in the box score. I would say disappointing first at bat. Nate Lowe's not the only guy to blame in this one offensively. There's a number of other guys. I've already called out some of them, some of the guys that left runners in scoring position with 2 outs. You had Doley, Simeon, Smith, Grossman, all not coming through in the clutch. So we'll keep rolling down the list here. Grossman, by the way, 0 for 2 on the day. Taveras did come in and pinch hit. Taveras did a great job of what I just said. He came up, had an opportunity with 1 out, runner on third base, and he got the sac fly. That is what the Rangers need to do more of, and is what they've struggled to do. Getting runners on second, third, less than 2 outs, and not able to advance them or score them. So Leote, I think over the second half of the season, has really upped his game in terms of productive outs, small ball, taking what the pitching is giving you, not trying to do too much. I've seen a big improvement with Leote in that department. Yes, he's still gone on his super cold streaks, but I have appreciated seeing Leote do a much better job producing even when he's getting outs, even when he's not getting base hits, sac flies, bunts, moving guys around the bases. So I've got to give some credit to Leote. I don't think the numbers, if I look at the last 7, are going to be superb, but just the eye test, I do feel like Leote has been doing a nice job playing small ball. Over the last 7 games, 250 with 2 homers. I mean, look, you're going to take that from Leote. 250 average with 2 homers and 6 RBI over his last 7 games. It's hard to knock that. Leote is an 8 or 9 hitter. He's not a guy that's hitting in the middle of the order. You're going to take that every time from your 8 or 9 hole. 250 average, 2 homers, 6 RBI over your last 7 games. You'll take that all day long. So Leote, I think, has actually been somewhat of a bright spot in the Rangers' offensive struggles. And again, does a nice job, has done a nice job of late, moving guys over, getting RBIs with productive outs. So little props there, little respect to Leote for sure. We'll keep going here. Astros are too good. I don't feel like the Astros are that good of a team. I don't think that they are an elite team right now. And I know that that's going to come across as biased because I'm a Rangers fan and because of the rivalry. I think most Astros fans, and I know quite a few of them, look, I know this is going to come across as hate, but I don't think even Astros fans think that their team is elite. I think the Astros are a better team right now than the Rangers. I hate to say that. I think that the Rangers on paper have more talent, but the Rangers' talent is not producing right now. The Astros have 3 or 4 very good hitters at the top of their lineup that produce consistently, and that makes a huge, huge difference. It's not just Yordan Alvarez like it is for the Rangers and Corey Seager. Corey Seager really over this series has been one of the only bright spots in the Rangers offense, and he went over tonight with a walk. But right now, the Astros have a very solid top of the lineup that consistently produces. Bregman had a 2-hit game. Alvarez had a great series. So I think the Astros are doing what they need to be doing. I don't think that they're going to be making a deep postseason run. If I had to make a guess or a prediction, I think they'll be in the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to make a deep run. It depends probably on Kyle Tucker, Verlander, if they can get those guys back. I think that they probably will have a shot to make it maybe at least to the championship series. The Astros don't strike me as a World Series team, though. And I think even Astros fans would say that they were a little bit hesitant to proclaim that as well. Again, I've got a few Astros buddies. Still love them despite the poor choice in team. But I think the Astros, good team. Don't know if they're a great team. But when they do get fully healthy with Kyle Tucker, Justin Verlander, I do think that it might change the dynamic a little bit. I still think there are probably some better teams out there, though, in Major League Baseball. I think there's a few other teams I can think of that have a better shot than the Astros do. So the Astros, they're just kind of inevitable. That is a word I think that's been thrown around quite a bit when you're talking about Houston. They're just a team that is always showing up when it comes to October baseball. And you got to give them credit for that. As much as Rangers fans don't care for the Stros, and I can't say I care for them a lot either, but you got to give them credit. They make it to the championship series almost every year, and they scrape together wins when they need to. They're a resilient team and they produce. They produce consistently. And that is what we need out of our bats. The top of our order is not consistent enough, save maybe Corey Seager. We don't have a consistent enough 1 through 4, 1 through 5. The Astros with Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez, Diaz, you've got some consistent producers in that bunch. It's crazy and kind of scary with that offense that Kyle Tucker's not even in the mix. That's why I said I think it might be a little bit of a different dynamic when he gets back. Although that Kyle Tucker thing is a really interesting situation to me. So he fouled the ball off his shin, if I believe. And I don't want to go off on an Astros tangent for too long here, but they've just kind of been holding him out. It's kind of been a weird recovery timetable thing. I don't know. I've heard some theories out there. They're just kind of resting him at this point, trying to get him all the way 100% for the stretch run in September and October. But this Astros team doesn't even have Kyle Tucker right now, Justin Verlander. So I think that the Astros are a good team. Don't know if they're a great team right now, but they do seem to find a way to always make it to October, and they usually win a series while they're at it. So I will give credit where credit is due. We'll keep going here. Comment says for anybody listening on Apple or on Spotify, it's whoever gets hot in October. Rangers and Diamondbacks, perfect examples. So I totally agree and really think this is true across almost every sport, football, basketball. I think football is definitely one that maybe you could debate a little bit, but I think basketball and I also think baseball, sometimes it does come down to which team is clicking at exactly the right moment. And that was the Rangers last year, the Diamondbacks last year as well. And Rangers fans, think about 2011, the Cardinals, which I know we don't all like to think about. The Cardinals barely snuck into the playoffs in 2011. I don't think they won more than 85 games in 2011, the Cardinals did. And they ran it all the way to the World Series and won a ring that year over the Rangers. They did not even win, like I said, 85 games. They got in on the last day of the season in 2011, the St. Louis Cardinals did. And then they ran the table to a World Series ring. That happens so much in baseball, and it is what's awesome and what I love about the sport. Nobody thought the Rangers were winning the World Series last October, especially after they dropped 3 out of 4 in Seattle to lose the division to the Astros and to end the season. So I agree. A lot of the time, it does come down to who's hot and who's clicking at exactly the right time. We're going to close out this game. We've been going at it for a little while. We're going to put a bow on this one, flush it out, and we're going to start previewing Friday's matchup. So we have Jonah Heim going 2 for 4 today. Good to see Jonah getting a couple of hits. Jonah has been relegated to basically the 8 or 9 spot every day. He used to be a guy you could maybe pencil in 6 or 7, but he's been consistently 8-hole, 9-hole of late. And he is hitting 261 over his last 7 games. Over his last 15, only hitting 200, though. Good to see him getting multi-hits today and driving in a run. Jonah Heim, another guy you can look at. Heim had 95 RBI last season, was an all-star. And this year, 47 RBI, 233 average. He's fallen off a little bit. And there's a lot of Rangers players that had really great seasons last year that have fallen off a bit. I mean, that's being generous, especially when it comes to guys like Adolis Garcia, who's fallen off a lot. So that's the story of this Rangers lineup. Guys that had really great seasons last year, not having as great of seasons this year. And to go off of the comment that we just had about getting hot at the right time, we had guys having excellent seasons at just the right time last year in 2023. We had, 4 or 5 starters in the All-Star game? I mean, we had guys last year literally having the best seasons of their careers. Adolis Garcia, I don't know if he is going to ever have a better season than what he had in 2023. It's just hard to duplicate. I don't think he's ever going to have as good of a postseason as he had, setting the all-time postseason major league record for most RBI. Don't think he's ever going to do that again. I would love to be wrong. But unfortunately, it's a perfect storm for the Rangers. You got hot at just the right time in October. Probably were not a team that a lot thought were going to win by any means. You got hot in October. And then this year, you're seeing some regression from guys that had probably the best season of their careers. Jonah Heim, is he ever going to hit 95 RBI in a season again? I would love to be wrong, but I don't think he will. I don't think Jonah Heim is going to hit 96 plus in a season. I think he had his best year offensively that he's probably ever going to have. And I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but it's just hard to duplicate that. That's a really good season. And unfortunately, the Rangers counted on all those guys having at least close to the same type of season that they had last year, and they just have not been getting that. So I do think those two things are what is spelling out the Rangers' record and where they're at right now in the season, which is what, 6-7 games below 500. Still only 5.5 out with 47 games left. That is just a lot of baseball, y'all. It really is. That is a lot of baseball left. Only 5.5 out. It's not all hopeless. Regardless of what you see on socials, Reddit, whatever fan book, fan group you're a part of, it's not all gloom and doom. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Let's just be totally honest and transparent. It's not looking good. But could the Rangers do it? Could they pull off a 5-game, 6, 7-game win streak? And then we're looking at the division and saying, hey, this is possible in a couple of weeks' time. For sure. They've got the talent, but it's not looking good. I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, they're definitely going to be in October. I don't feel that way. I feel like it's very much in question. Not impossible, but very much in question. And unfortunately, as a good segue, the Rangers are going to the East Coast to play two very good teams back-to-back in the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. So on Friday night, I do not believe, oh, great, they actually have announced starters for the Friday night game. Cody Bradford is going to be starting against Carlos Rodon. So that's going to be a battle, a good lefty-lefty battle there. Bradford, you remember his last time out, actually pitched, I thought a somewhat decent game, got roughed up a little bit, went 3 2/3, 5 base runners. I think that the numbers are a little bit deceiving. I thought he actually threw the ball pretty well in his start against Boston. He had 5 strikeouts. I think he did a great job mixing up his speeds and his pitches. Cody Bradford is not a guy that even throws mid-90s. I mean, this is a guy that throws 92, 93, but does a great job locating his pitches, mixing up his speeds. So I think that the numbers for his last start, Cody Bradford's last start, are a little bit deceptive. I think he actually had a pretty good game, a pretty good start last time out. I liked what I was seeing. I liked how he was throwing the ball. I hope he can go into the Bronx and have a nice start for the Rangers. We could really, really use it. A quality outing, 6 innings, 2-3 runs allowed at the most. The Rangers need that. And I know that they've been counting on it way too much this year for the pitching to carry them. The offense has got to hit too. But I really hope Cody Bradford can produce a quality start for the Rangers on Friday night at Yankee Stadium. We're going to look at the preview, see how Rodon has fared against the Rangers lineup, see how Bradford has fared against Yankees hitters. There's not a lot of numbers for either team against the probable starters. So for Cody Bradford, only 2 Yankees players have at-bats against him. Juan Soto is 0 for 1. And then Grisham is 0 for 1 as well. So the Yankees batters are hitting 0 off Cody Bradford. 0 for 2. But hey, it sounds better when I just say hitting 0. So Cody Bradford hasn't really faced a lot of the Yankees hitters. You've heard me say this a lot. That can go either way. You really don't know what to expect. There could be a little element of mystique there. The hitters aren't really sure what to completely expect from Bradford because they haven't faced him. I mean, obviously there's tape on Bradford, stats, analytics, but when you've never faced the guy before, it can always kind of go either way. So I'm curious to see how Yankees hitters are going to fare against Bradford. Rodon on the other side. Robbie Grossman does have a lot of ABs against Rodon. Of course, both those players, Rodon and Grossman, played in the AL Central together for a long time. Rodon playing for the Chicago White Sox for a number of years. Robbie is hitting .263 with a home run in 19 career at-bats. I'm sure we'll probably see Robbie on Friday night since Rodon is a lefty and Grossman is almost exclusively always in the lineup against lefties. Kelly, the catcher, 0 for 9 in his career. Don't know if we'll be seeing Carson Kelly on Friday night. Corey Seager, 4 for 6 against Rodon in his career with the home run. Hopefully a night where Corey Seager can take advantage of that short porch in right field and have himself a series, a game. Marcus Semien hitting 4 for 16 versus Rodon. Good for a .250 lifetime average with 1 home run. So you do have some Rangers players that have had some success, namely our 2 best hitters, Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, the guys getting paid the big bucks. Robbie Grossman with some decent stats against Rodon as well. You hope the Rangers can go to New York and make some noise. This could be a potentially death sentence-like road series for the Rangers. You're going through New York, then you got to go to Boston, play at Fenway. This is going to be a big kind of a make or break series back-to-back for the Rangers. I don't know who the Astros are playing. I'll have to check this out, y'all, see if I can get it for you, see if I can get all the matchups that are going on this weekend around the AL West. So this weekend looks like the Mariners are playing the Mets in Seattle. So that is, I think, a beneficial series for the Rangers. Mets are 60-54, a better record than the Mariners. And the Astros are going to be playing the Red Sox at Fenway. I think they might be flip-flopping. Maybe the Astros go and play the Yankees next in the Bronx, I would imagine. But we'll see. I don't know for sure. But the Astros play the Red Sox at Fenway starting tomorrow, starting on Friday. So both teams ahead of the Rangers are playing quality competition this weekend. I think that does bode well. On Monday, the Astros will go. They don't play the Yankees next, actually, after the Red Sox. So Astros have Red Sox this weekend, and then they go to Tampa Bay to play the Rays, who are a scrappy team that did beat up on the Astros in Houston several days ago. So the Astros are playing winning ball clubs their next 2 series. That definitely benefits the Rangers. The Rangers, like I said, on Monday will go to Fenway, play the Red Sox. And the Mariners, it looks like, are off on Monday. But then on Tuesday, the Mariners will play the Tigers in Detroit. And the Mariners are playing the Tigers right now, but it's a home series. And the Tigers are having some success off the Mariners. So, look, it's good to see that each of the teams ahead of us, the Astros and the Mariners, have some quality competition coming up over their next 2 series, because the Rangers sure do. Boston and then New York, those are 2 very good teams, really good tests for the Rangers. Like I said, could make or break the season, perhaps, depending on how the Astros and Mariners fare. If the Rangers don't win games over this next week and the Astros and Mariners do, you could talk about the division extending out to an 8, 9, 10 game deficit. And I really don't think at that point anybody needs to be talking playoffs for the Rangers. So this could be potentially a very big week. Every series is huge. But this could be a really, really big week coming up for the Rangers, especially depending on how the Astros and the Mariners do in their respective series ahead of them. We did talk through the AL West already, the standings. Rangers are 5.5 games back of both teams, the Mariners and the Astros. I think the Astros technically have a half-game lead over the Mariners. So Houston, half-game lead, 5.5-game lead over the Rangers with 47 games left to play. All hope is not lost, but it's starting to get very dicey. I don't know what the percentage is that the Rangers are going to make the playoffs this year, but I'd imagine it's probably single digits at this point. Probably single digits. Well, all right, y'all. Headlines around the league. We're going to try and speed through them and then get off for the night. But headlines around the league. Holiday and Santander go deep twice a piece in the Orioles win today over the Blue Jays. Aroldis Chapman fans Manny Machado on 105-mile-an-hour heat, and it wasn't even the fastest pitch of the at-bat. So former Ranger Aroldis Chapman still got it, still bringing the heat, 105-mile-an-hour to strike out Machado, and it wasn't even the fastest pitch in the at-bat. My goodness. Aaron Judge, can he hit 60 homers again? This MLB writer seems to think yes. Aaron Judge is hitting a lot of home runs lately. That's going to be a guy that we are going to have to be very careful with this weekend in the Bronx. Very careful with. Let's keep going here. Skubal, great start against the Mariners. Tigers beat the Mariners 6-2. Tarek Skubal dazzled in his start once again. And Lindor, a ninth inning hit. And I think that ninth inning hit ended up giving the Mets a win over the Rockies 5-3. And Lindor is getting some MVP discussion. Some MVP discussion for Francisco Lindor. All-star snub, but he is having a very good season. And then Merrill for the Padres. 2-homer, 4-hit night. Padres keep rolling. That is one hot baseball team right now. Not a whole lot of baseball being played, but Phillies are beating the Dodgers 9-4 in the bottom of the ninth right now. Every other game has gone final. We are going to go ahead and we are going to start calling it a night, though, y'all. I'm going to check comments one more time, and then we will be off tomorrow. Rangers are not playing tomorrow. A little travel day coming up for them. So we are going to probably take tomorrow off. Maybe we'll cut something from the video tonight, put it out, but may just take the full day. Friday, we'll have a short vid out to you at some point during the day, going through our challenge, betting 1 cent on a Texas Rangers win for every follower that we have. Taking a little bit of a hit the past few series. Honestly, the past few series have been quite damaging to the system, but we're having a lot of fun with it. Fun doing a video recapping what happened the night before, giving some predictions for the next game. We're still enjoying ourselves, and we thank you for all the support during the challenge. But that'll be out on Friday. Not sure if we'll go live Friday night. I've got some things going on in my schedule that might prevent me from going live Friday night. So we may very well take off Friday night. If we do go live Friday night, it will be quite late, just full disclosure. So Friday night is maybe yes, maybe no. So stay tuned. Stand by for that one. But we'll go ahead and check. Somebody on TikTok I know is asking, what times do I go live? It's usually right after Rangers games. My work schedule has picked up pretty recently, so I'm probably going to be a little bit later after the game sometimes, but I'm going to try within 30 minutes, 45 minutes of the game ending to always be live. And if I don't go live within that time, I'll make it happen at some point in the evening. Just turn on those notifications so you get notified every time I go live. That way you don't miss it. But typically I try and go live after every baseball game. So sometimes it is like 4, 6, 8, something like that. But probably won't be live tomorrow on an off day. Wouldn't think. Last comment here before we close it out. Excited to watch Langford and Carter develop over the next few seasons. Me too. The Rangers have a really good farm system. I do think that is a glass half full mentality that every Rangers fan should be taking. 2025 is going to be a competitive year. You're going to have a full season of DeGrom, a full season of Josh Young. Evan Carter is going to hopefully have a full season ahead of him. Wyatt Langford is going to have a year of experience, hopefully be even better. Maybe you get some guys that had down years this year bouncing back to at least being kind of average, right? Not being terrible, just being average. And I think that might spill out a much different outcome than what 2024 holds. Season's not over. All hope's not lost. But the Rangers got to start winning some series. And unfortunately, they're going up against some very, very stiff competition over the next 2 series, going to New York, going to Boston, dealing with the Yankees and the Red Sox. Well, hey, again, a special thank you for everybody watching live and those that decided to tune in on the replay. Hope to see you later on this weekend at some point on a live. Otherwise, again, all of our videos, all of our lives are always available on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. You can find lives there after every show, of course, on Instagram and on TikTok. Not the case, but Facebook, YouTube. Lives are always there if you miss them. Apple, Spotify, podcast style, if that works better for you. And I always ask, if you know somebody that loves the Rangers, you know somebody that is a huge baseball fan, please tell them about the account. Tell them about the channel. I would love to keep growing this good community we got, good people talking Rangers baseball, talking baseball in general. Grateful for all of you. Hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday night and a good rest of the week and weekend ahead. We will be back either late Friday night or on Saturday, going live maybe during one of the Yankees Rangers games. So hope to see you then. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers. Have a good night.